So there's this story in the second book of Kings about these three kings that decided to invade this other country that had failed to uphold its agreement with the three kings. And they came up with this plan to go after this country. They didn't consult God in the plan. They just came up with the plan on their own because they figured they knew what they were doing. So they come up with this plan to go and invade this country and go through this desert called the Desert of Edom. And they take off through this desert, and it ends up taking longer than they thought it would take to get to where they were going. And they ran out of water. And so they finally get to where they're going, but they're out of water. They're to a place where they can actually make the attack, but they're going to face this enemy force, and they're dehydrated and they're hungry. So finally they decide, maybe we should ask God what we should do. So they go and find Elisha, who was a prophet. And they say, would you ask God what we should do at this point? We're kind of in a sticky situation here. And Elisha's first response is, why didn't you ask him in the first place? But then he says, okay, since Jehoshaphat follows God, I'll ask for you guys. So he prays to God, and God tells him to tell these people in the middle of the desert, go out and dig ditches all through the valley. Just dig ditches all through the valley. Now think about this. They're tired, they're dehydrated, they're hungry, they're in a desert, and God tells them to dig ditches in the dirt, in the sand. When they're this hungry, it made no sense. But sometimes the plan God puts before us, we don't know the end product. And maybe we have to do the thing that doesn't make sense in our human eyes. So they do. They go out and dig the ditches. The next morning, water comes rushing through the valley, fills all the ditches with water, and then runs on. And these ditches are filled with water for them to drink, for their animals to drink, for them to get hydrated and ready for battle. Now, had they not dug the ditches, the water would have just washed right on by them. But even though it didn't seem like something that would fit into their plan, they dug the ditches. And God provided. You know, sometimes we just got to dig the ditches that God tells us to dig. We have to follow the plan that God puts before us. We have to walk through the door that God opens for us. Even if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't always make sense to our brains. But sometimes when God says dig the ditches, we just got to dig the ditches. Then you ask yourself the question, what if when God told us to do something, when God opened the door, when God opened up a pathway, what if we went down it? What if we walked through it? What if we dug the ditches? What if? Moyo, everywhere we go.